Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. M.N. Gupta from IIT Delhi. Today we'll continue to talk about the hypersensitivity 3 from paper Immunology. Vaccinology or Jennerian approach to preventing bacterial infections dominated immunology till the end of 19th century. Around that time, the observations that RBC from another species generated similar immune response as bacteria created sufficient excitement. This was an important finding and broadened the scope of immunological investigations. Hypersensitivity to reactions include immune responses against erythrocytes and other cells. Unlike type 1, type 2 reactions are not IgE mediated. As mentioned earlier, the symptoms of type 2 hypersensitivity appears in 5 to 8 hours time period. Both antibodies and complement participate. Unlike in allergy, in the cytotoxicity, IgM or IgG are involved. Once the Ig sensitize the cells, macrophages, NK cells and complement following depending upon the cells involved. So the objectives of this module are understanding how IgM or IgG mediate hypersensitivity reactions, explaining how these reactions, also called cytotoxic hypersensitivity reactions, damage cellular antigens, explaining involvement of opsonization, lysis, or understanding immunology behind transfusion reactions, understanding Orthus reaction and serum sickness, which represent type 3 hypersensitivity reactions. So the concept map would consist of, on one hand, IgG leading to K cells, platelets, neutrophils and macrophages, IgM and Ig triggering the classical pathway of complement, which again will lead to the activated C3 and ultimately the membrane damage. So cytotoxic reactions in type 2 hypersensitivity mediated by IgM, and the complex of the antigen and antibody mediating type 3 hypersensitivity. The immune response initiated when the erythrocyte from an incompatible donor are injected in the system were the first type 2 hypersensitivity reactions to be discovered. While the seminal work of Landsteiner created ABO blood group systems, erythrocytes contain many surface antigens. There are 6 major and more common blood group systems. Allotypically variable surface antigens of erythrocytes form the basis of all the systems. Some of these antigens occur on cells of other tissues as well. Within each system, we have phenotypic variants. In ABO system, the 4 phenotypic variants are A, B, AB, O. As we know, these represent the possible blood types. Let us again look at what really happens here. Individuals having A blood group carry antibody against B blood group in the serum. Individuals having B blood group type antibody against A blood group. Individuals having O blood group have antibodies against both A and B antigens. These antibodies are present even before any blood transfusion. These are believed to be formed as a variety of microorganisms happen to carry similar epitopes as A or B blood group antigens. As antibodies to ABO system antigens are present, it necessitates matching donor blood with the recipient blood before initiating any transfusion reactions. If the wrong blood is introduced, the specific antibodies react with the donor blood cells and cause agglutination. However, severity of the reaction depends upon the isotype and amount of the antibodies. Prior to transfusion, the antibodies present against the non-cell blood group antigens are usually of IgM type. Other blood group antigens may also produce IgG. Leukocytes and platelets of the donor blood group also provoke immune response. However, responses involving erythrocytes are more severe. In this slide, other than ABO blood group, the Kell system, the Duffy system, MN system and Lutheran system is also described along with their corresponding gene loci and the antigens which define these blood groups. The multiple clinical symptoms of transfusion reactions vary and include fever, nausea and tightness in chest. IgM immunoglobulins cause agglutination, complement activation and intravascular hemolysis. IgM antibodies may also cause blood cell lysis via complement pathway, but it is more likely that they undergo phagocytosis in liver and spleen. The contents of RBC released in the system can cause acute tubular necrosis of kidney. In the case of transfusion across the ABO barrier, free hemoglobin can be detected in the plasma within hours. In such cases, transfusion should be terminated immediately. A diuretic administered to get rid of toxic substances accumulating in the kidney. What happens when individuals need repeated transfusion of blood, even with a matched blood type? These individuals may still develop delayed reactions after 2 to 6 days of transfusion. These are also type 2 hypersensitivity reactions. These arise because of the mismatch between donor blood and recipient blood vis-a-vis other blood group antigens. These antigens could be and include Rh, KID, Kell or Duffy type. Antibodies are of Ig type and lysis of RBC is by opsonization followed by phagocytosis. The clinical symptoms include increased bilirubin followed by jaundice, fever and anemia. In such cases, no hemoglobin in urine or plasma may be detected, as RBC destruction may be limited to extravascular sites. ABO blood group system antigens, as been pointed out earlier also, are carbohydrate antigens. The A and B antigen are present as glycocomponent of the various glycoproteins on the erythrocyte surfaces as anion transport protein and glucose transporter. So these antigens were not created for matching of the blood during transfusion. These were part of the other functions. Hence, immune response involved during blood transfusion are unintended consequences as far as biological designs are concerned. This is in line with the overall picture of hypersensitivity being unintended consequences or collateral damage as a result of various natural biological designs. We will cover autoimmune diseases separately and fairly extensively actually. However, in brief, these diseases represent a pathological situation when immune system forgets the distinction between self and non-self antigens. As autoimmune hemolytic anemia is a part of hypersensitivity type 2 reactions, we will include this in our discussion here. This type of anemia is suspected if the patient tests positive in the indirect Coombs test. The patient produces immunoglobulin against its own erythrocytes. The test detects antibody bound on the erythrocytes of the patient. The reagent which is used is anti-human Ig, which agglutinates the antibody-coated erythrocytes. Even immune complexes adsorbed on the erythrocyte lead to positive Coombs test. Autoimmune hemolytic anemia are divided into three classes on the basis of their causes. Warm reactive autoantibodies are reactive only at 37 degrees centigrade. Cold reactive autoantibodies are reactive only at less than 37 degrees centigrade. Antibodies are provoked by drug-induced allergic reaction. This is when type 1 hypersensitivity leads to type 2 hypersensitivity. Warm reactive antibodies are generally antibodies formed against Rh system antigens such as antigenic determinants of Rhc, Rhe and Rhd loci. These antibodies seems to be directed against different epitopes than in the case of antibody generated during transfusion reactions. It is believed that in such cases, anemia results from fast clearance of antibody bound RBC by spleen macrophages. Complement mediated lysis is less frequently involved. Cold reactive antibodies, on the other hand, are generally present in higher titer than warm reactive antibodies. Primarily of IgM type, antibodies directed against Li blood group system, their action is mediated by complement. Incomplete glycosylation of the core, precursor of A and B antigens, produces I, capital I and small I epitopes. The reactions takes place in the peripheral circulation, especially in winter. It causes aggregation and microthrombosis of small vessels leading to peripheral necrosis in severe cases. Anemia is largely caused by complement mediated lysis in periphery. Drugs can produce immune response against blood cells including erythrocytes and platelets. Three routes may be responsible. In the first route, drugs or its metabolites bind to cell membranes. Antibody produced against them will bind followed by complement mediated lysis. In the second route, immune complexes of drugs and antibody binds to red blood cells via immune adherence receptors or Fc region. Again, complement mediated lysis occurs. In the third route, drugs bound to cell membranes results in abolition of tolerance and possibly stimulate Th cells. Antibodies against blood group antigens are formed. In the case antibodies are against the cellular antigens, so once produced, These will destroy even cells to which drug molecules are not bound. It was Aykroyd which made first observations related to drug-induced anemia in the case of the thrombocytopenic purpura. Upon administration of the drug Sodormid, purpuric rash because of the destruction of platelets was observed. Wide range of drugs are reported to result in hemolytic anemia. These include penicillin, quinine, and sulfonamides. Luckily, incidences are uncommon. Finally, as last example of type 2 hypersensitivity, let us mention again hemolytic disease of newborn. We have discussed this disease erythroblastosis fetalis while discussing Coombs test as a part of the toolbox of immunology. Let us elaborate upon this from the perspective of type 2 hypersensitivity. While HDN can also be caused by incompatibility with other blood group antigens, those are very rare cases. Generally, RHD, that is rhesus D antigen of erythrocytes, is involved. The problem begins when a Rh negative mother has an Rh positive baby, and some of the baby's blood gets into her circulation. The mother's immune system makes antibodies against Rh antigen. Normally, the first baby is not affected. However, if the pregnancy with another Rh plus fetus occurs, mother's antibodies cross over placenta and destroy fetus by attacking its blood cells. About 85% of the British and US population are Rh positive. About 15% women are Rh negative, but few factors limit the risk. The leakage of the Rh positive baby's blood through the placenta into the mother's circulation does not occur in adequate amount to initiate immune response. Not all mothers produce anti-Rh antibodies. If the father's blood is heterozygous, that is, if any of his parent was Rh negative with respect to the Rh antigen, there is only 50% chance that with an Rh negative mother, the blood of the fetus will be Rh positive. In some cases, which are around 20%, the formation of antibodies is prevented by interaction of this gene with other blood group genes. A group ORH negative mother will have antibodies against A antigen. If the infant's blood was ARH positive, it will be destroyed by mother's antibodies. Even if the child survives, severe complications arise. Some measures for preventing HDN are give injections of anti-RH antibodies to the mother. This kills the erythrocyte of the first baby, and except in rare cases ensures that the mother does not produce anti-RHO antibodies. Factors which promote transplacental hemorrhage include 1. Peeling the placenta of the womb by hand when afterbirth is delayed. Number 2. Attempts to turn around a poorly placed baby in womb. Third, excessive abdominal examination of pregnant women. Fourth, toxemia. Fifth, cesarean delivery. And finally, abortion. Let us now start the discussion on hypersensitivity type 3 reactions. These are mediated by immune complexes. All antibody responses, of course, generate immune complexes. In some cases, these result in type 3 hypersensitivity. The factors which determine their pathogenic potential are size and amount of the immune complexes, the affinity in these immune complexes, isotype of antibodies involved in forming the complex. During normal course, large complexes formed trigger complement. Mononuclear phagocytic system clears the immune complexes, especially in liver, when antigen is in excess. The immune complexes do not form extensive network and are small in size. These deposit in blood vessel walls. Two major types of type 3 reactions are known when immune complexes are deposited locally within a tissue. It is known as Orthus reaction. Orthus reaction occurs in all tissues but is easily demonstrated in skin. In a person sensitized to an antigen already has Ig against it, some of it diffuses out of the capillaries. The same antigen injected into skin forms immune complexes which are locally deposited. The mast cells are triggered via their Fc gamma R3 receptors and inflammatory reactions set in. Orthus reaction results are visible at the site of injection. Within few hours of injection, redness, swelling can be followed by local hemorrhage, thrombosis, and in severe cases, necrosis occur. Let us look at the major mechanisms involved in the Orthus reaction and other local type 3 hypersensitivity reactions. The first step is adherence of neutrophils to vascular endothelium. From there, they migrate through the small blood vessels. In about 6 to 8 hours, injection site has large number of neutrophils with progressive damage to blood vessels. Escape of fluid causes edema and RBC leakage causes hemorrhage. The immune complexes activate complement which in turn results in platelets releasing vasoactive amines. Macrophages release TNF and IL-1, C3A and C5A cause mast cell degranulation, and that is how neutrophils are attracted to tissues. Polymorphs release lysosomal enzymes which also contribute to inflammation. The inflammation is maximal after 5 to 6 hours and grossly looks as shown in the figure. Large immune complexes have Fc moieties in the network which bind to mononuclear phagocytic cells with high avidity. Genetic reasons in some individuals favor production of low affinity antibodies. Such antibodies are unable to form large complexes. Carbohydrate components in the Ig seem to be important for phagocytosis of corresponding immune complexes. In many diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, abnormality in carbohydrate component affects their clearance. Diseases arising out of deposits of immune complexes can be classified into three classes. A low-grade persistent infection accompanied by a weak antibody response deposits complexes in the tissue locally. Alpha hemolytic infection by Streptococcus viridans, endocarditis due to staphylococcal infection, and viral hepatitis are examples. Immunofluorescence can track formation of these deposits. The renal artery of the patient with chronic hepatitis B was stained with fluorescent anti-hepatitis antibody and rhodamine labeled anti-IgM. The second kind of disease is a complication of autoimmune diseases. The prolonged formation of the immune complexes overloads the clearance mechanisms and complexes are deposited. A large number of diseases belonging to each class are known. Some of them are tabulated here. In the third class of diseases, the antigens from molds, plants and animals are inhaled repeatedly. Farmer's lung is an important example of this and occurs due to repeated inhalation of mold from hay. Moldy hay under damp conditions produces thermophilic actinomycetes like Micropolyspora feni. Its small pores can penetrate lungs to reach alveoli. Clinically, farmer's lung is associated dyspnea and removal of moldy hay is advised as soon as the disease is detected. Similarly, pigeon breeders' lung arises from continuous inhalation of dust from pigeon feces. Inhalation of spores from soil actinomycetes during mushroom growing leads to mushroom growers disease. Librarians' lung can result from inhalation of dust from old books. Lung section in the case of hypersensitivity pneumonitis is due to inhalation of actinomycetes spores, show fluid and thicker alveolar walls, figure or rather a histological section from the lung in an acute case of pneumonitis is shown here. For detection of the immune complexes, histological examination of the affected organ is a direct method. Tissue samples can be examined by immunofluorescence. Circulatory complexes are either in freeze state or bound to erythrocytes. The latter population is on the way to getting cleared, hence looking at the former is of greater clinical importance. The estimation of free complexes by PEG precipitation method starts with rapid separation of plasma. Other methods exploits affinity of immune complexes for the complement C1q or Fc receptor on platelets or C3 receptors on cell tumor cells. C1q, for example, can be bound to a polystyrene tube or microplate. The immune complexes, when added, bind to C1q via their array of Fc. RIA with labeled anti-Ig quantifies the immune complexes. One drawback is that patient may leave free antibodies which can bind to C1q. We may recall that C1q has a structural component similar to collagen. Patients with connective tissue diseases often will have antibodies to collagen. Finally, clinical evaluation requires careful assessment. Many freely circulating immune complexes are harmless. The damage occurs when some of these start depositing in the tissues. In the era before antibiotics became common, for many diseases such as diphtheria, a frequent treatment was to inject massive dose of antibody passive immunization. This serum therapy caused a complication which was called serum sickness. The series of side effects were seen after about 10 days. Generalized vasculitis with erythema, edema, urticaria of skin, neutropenia, lymph node enlargement, joint swelling and proteinuria are seen. These normally subside after few days. The time course of experimental serum sickness is shown here. Serum sickness induced in rabbits with a high intravenous dose of antigen like bovine serum albumin showed that immune complexes were present in circulation in large doses when serum sickness occurred. This figure shows the major mechanisms involved in the pathogenesis of serum sickness. The various effects of immune complexes deposition in various tissue lead to various side effects which have been mentioned. In transient glomerulonephritis, large complexes under the conditions of excess antigen enter vascular endothelium, resulting in endothelial swelling and proliferation. If antigen is in great excess, smaller complexes penetrate even basement membranes. Local damage occurs through complement action. In arteries, Orthus type lesions develop. It is believed that a transient hypersensitivity type 1 may be involved. This slide shows chronic serum sickness. The different forms of immune complex mediates glucomerulonephritis. Repeated small doses of antigen induce this chronic serum sickness. In rabbits, macrophages known as mesangial cells have receptors for both complement and immune complexes. These proliferate by interleukin 1 secreted by themselves upon encountering immune complexes. A thin section of glomerulus with immune complex mediated lesions is shown on the right hand side. It shows proliferation of mesangial cells and deposits of immune complexes in glomerulus. To summarize the lecture, we learned that IgM and IgG mediate type 2 hypersensitivity either directly or through complement. The tissue damage, that is the cytotoxicity aspect, occurs through NK cells, platelets, neutrophils and macrophage. Blood transfusion reactions, autoimmune hemolytic anemia and RHD problem involve type 2 hypersensitivity. Type 3 hypersensitivity is mediated by immune complexes deposited in tissues or causing a systemic reaction. Passive immunization causes serum sickness, which is also initiated by immune complexes of small or medium size penetrating tissue. It must be becoming apparent that while each type of hypersensitivity is initiated at the molecular level differently, the molecules and the cells participating in the tissue damage are not very different. Some are prominent in one type, others participate more vigorously in other types. The organ tissue damaged in the process also may vary. In fact, in many diseases, more than one type of hypersensitivity may be involved. Thank you.